winding down with apple martinis. Well, technically, this is a coconut vanilla apple martini. And I just did a live with a great group of people, and we all bought cocktails, like flavored cocktails. And I'm a raw vegan. And one second here. Yeah, I'm a raw vegan, and this is what I love. This is what I love. It's all raw foods. One second. So I thought I'd jump on here because I have been coming on here and sharing, and I feel like it's helping people, and I feel like it's definitely helping me as well. Like, I was sick for 32 years. I was in bed for 25 years, 15 years straight. Hey, I was in a bed. I have had a congenital disease. I've had my stomach removed. I've had multiple surgeries, and I get on here and I share on different topics. Usually I make recipes. Last recipe I made was the viral carrot wraps. I might grab them soon and show you. So, hey there, I am from Australia. Yeah, I'm here with my app. This is a coconut, vanilla, and apple martini. It's actually a mocktail. This is what we're winding down with. There's vanilla, coconut water, fresh apple juice. I'm a raw vegan. This sort of food saved my life. It's nice to meet you. Yeah, and I love to get on here and share on topics. Actually, what I have noticed is since coming on here and sharing about healing with raw foods and raw foods saving my life is I have processed so much more of my health, my healing. And I know a lot of people have reached out and said it's really helping them as well. So I am like almost ready for bed, but I do jump on and do night lives often because I don't have any work afterwards. So it makes it a lot easier. I've even got my like fruity, they're kind of falling out, my little fruity clips in my hair. So I'm not sure where everybody is from, but yeah, I should grab my wraps and show you guys my wraps. Let me go grab them from the fridge because we made wraps yesterday, which was all fun. So you guys can just listen to my voice as I go grab them. I hope I don't spill them on the couch actually. I didn't want to move all the lights out of the kitchen, but let me grab these, and they look really good. There's only 3 ingredients in them. So let's see. Here we go. Anyone that was on the live yesterday, we made on the live. Sorry guys, I fully disappeared there. On the live, we made these. So let me just bring this on. So yesterday on the live, we made carrot, corn, and chia wraps. And I'm going to fill these tomorrow actually with some beetroot noodles, all raw foods. This is yours. You can make it. This is just carrot, corn. The recipe is actually before this. So it's the reel I did before. We made it live yesterday in my kitchen. Usually I am in my kitchen, but tonight I am. I've just done a live with my apple martini. But I actually connected the recipe for you guys. I haven't added it to this live, but if you want the recipe, I wrote up the full recipe for this and the salad that saved my life. I wrote it up for you guys so you can make them. But yeah, I think everyone was giving me ideas for sauces to fill these with. Sorry, I'm going to fill these with beetroot and cashew kelp noodles. And then I want to top them with a sauce. And I think everyone was giving me ideas, but I'm still going with like making a sweet chili sauce to like drizzle on the top. Oh, these smell so good. It's nighttime and I'm like, well, it's nighttime and I've got my coconut, vanilla, and apple martini. All mocktail. We're here filling our body with nutrients, as you can see. So yeah, go check out that recipe. I might try make a reel for you guys. I am from Saspagara YouTube channel. Hey there, welcome. Yeah, so if you're just joining, I saved my life with raw foods, and that's why I make all of this. Like, I mean, literally, I was either in hospital or a bed most of my life, and then I found raw foods, and I got up and live a life and have a business and do lives, and I like to do these at night. and wind down. Please do not eat the dogs. I'm not going to eat dogs. Who eats dogs? I hope nobody eats dogs. I'm a vegan. I was vegan before I actually found raw foods. I found it, I feel like it's a bit of a journey. I don't know if anyone out there is on a health journey or a healing journey. If you're Aussie, what does the AFL team do you go for? So my dad actually worked for QBE Insurance. So I actually went to a couple of the box games for the Swans, the QBE Swans, because I'm in Sydney. But in fact, Sydney isn't a big place that goes for AFL. We're more like football. And when I say football, and now we're getting confused, rugby. People eat dog kebabs. That's sad. Don't do that. Animals we want to love on this planet. We don't want to do that. So, soccer. Yeah, no, so not soccer. So rugby. That's like a big thing around here where I'm from. But Melbourne, I'm from Sydney. Melbourne is more about the AFL, but we do have the Sydney Swans. As I said, I went to a couple of box matches because my dad worked for it. So you're a dogs fan. So I don't know much about it. You can tell it's not my forte. So yeah, I am Aussie. I'm Aussie. I live in Sydney. I'm a raw foodist. I healed myself with raw foods, and we've been making recipes. We've been talking about health on here because we need to look after ourselves. I mean, I did not know how well you could be. Like, I literally lived at doctors or hospitals or in a bed with carers on disability payments. And now I don't have to do any of that because I found a raw food diet. And I watch people heal this way every day. Also, I lost my hair. I got my hair back. Which is just amazing. When you lose something, you're so grateful for it when you get it back. Like, I lost my life when I had PTSD. I lost myself. I've lost my stomach. My stomach's been removed. My duodenum's been removed. I say 7 major organs removed, but technically I think it's actually 9. And then I was always sick. Even when they fixed something else went wrong. So yeah, you have a Scottish family. You look a bit Scottish. I am, yes. So Mackay is not my last name, but the maiden side. I'm Skye Conway, which is more Irish, I think. I have Irish, Scottish, English, and Scandinavian. That's, I think, my heritage, the mix that comes back. But yeah, so Conway is Irish. My name is Irish, the Isle of Skye. I need to get to Ireland. You look better than a 20-year-old. Hey, I love you. I'm trying to live my 20s now. This is why I've got my mock apple martini here. I missed most of my life because I was sick. So now that I'm in my 40s, I've got to make up for this. Got to make up for it. And this is just juice. This is what we're doing to feel good. You look amazing, shining star. Yes, Conway's Irish. Okay, I think you look Scottish. So I'm happy I could see. Yeah, I definitely am. Mackay is definitely Scottish, though I look more like the Conway side of the family, which is the Irish side. I look more like my dad, basically. So, so I just did a raw food Europe party online. So Europe's awake right now. So I'm usually talking to the US and Australia. Well, it's only 9 o'clock in Australia, so hopefully I get some Aussies who come on here. So, hi, at 40, you've just started. Yes, I'm just starting my life at 40. So I'm 44. I'm about to turn 44, but I didn't get well until I was 40. Got sick at 8 years old, got well for a few years. So it's sick at 8, was sick for 3 years, was well for about 4 years. Then from 16 till I was 40, non-stop getting sicker and sicker till it got to a point of like from 25 when they removed my stomach, duodenum. I had a congenital disease. I was basically in a bed or hospital. And I nearly died many times. And so 40, I'm getting started. And so I'm here to say you can change your life and you can feel amazing and you can start your life whenever you want. You don't have to feel that like no matter what age you are. That you've missed out. What happened to your stomach? So I have gone into this topic a couple times, but basically I had a disease in my back. This isn't my stomach, my back. That was what the surgeries were for. That was what for the doctors were for. They put me on different anti-inflammatory medications for my stomach. I was having for my back. They were giving me medication for my back. I went in and had lots of surgeries. So when I got anemic, they thought that I was anemic because of the surgeries. They didn't realize I had a perforated ulcer in my stomach, which bled out that I didn't feel because my back was in so much pain. And they tried to save the organs, and I just kept vomiting blood, and then they'd take me in for another massive surgery, and then I'd vomit blood, and they said we have to remove, and they drew a picture, remove the stomach, duodenum, and top of intestines. And after that, I did get back to work, but then my back pain, it was a rare congenital disease, and I ended up on massive amounts of opioids, fentanyl, ketamine, Botox, local anesthetic. I had a full hysterectomy for that. Then that got fixed, and I came off the pain medications, but every time I came off them, I got sicker and sicker till they thought I was going to die. I dissociated, lost my memory, went into a psych unit, finally came off all the medications. Then I got shingles through the eye. Then I got neurological functional disorder, couldn't walk and talk. As I described last night, I then had psychiatric problems, got lost in the bush, had half of Sydney, most Sydney looking for me. Came out of that. Then I became an alcoholic to cope with that, became homeless. I was vegan for the last couple years before I found this, and I was too sick to cook after being homeless, got my first place. I didn't cook, didn't have carers anymore, and I just ate the food, and I got up. And so I'm like, there's something to this. I ate the food raw, and within 6 weeks, no problems. I have had a bout of shingles flare up that I had to have a lot of juice to get out of and over, and I have had a broken toe. Besides that, no health problems in the past 4 years. You are a beautiful person. Keep it going and don't stop. I love this channel. Thank you for all you do. I love the raw foods. 2 years strong. Congratulations. Thank you. I'm so glad you love the channel. If you've been watching, I showed these are the wraps. Anyone joining, we made wraps yesterday. So we made these wraps, which I'm going to fill tomorrow for the Raw Vegan Americas party. We did the Raw Vegan Europe party. I just got off it, and I'm still like, I've got to get back on with my coconut vanilla apple martini, which is all just juice, coconut, apple, and vanilla. So good, because when I was younger, if I did go out, I would have vanilla vodka and apple juice. And this reminds me of that, but I feel better. I don't drink, haven't drunk in 4 years. But anyone watching, I attached the recipe. So if you just joined, I did write up the recipe for you guys. It's attached to the last live. And I wrote up the recipe for the life-saving salad that I ate every day to get well, which is there. But these should be, I shouldn't play with them too much. I feel like I'm going to disrupt the nature of it. So, do you think I'm Aussie? I don't know. Thank you. I don't know. I haven't tasted it yet. We tasted it. I did taste it yesterday. Oh, did I taste it? I didn't. But you can't really go wrong. It's 3 ingredients. It's corn, carrot, and chia. I love these 3 ingredient recipes and like 4 ingredient recipes, because then you guys can add onion powder, onion, chives, whatever you like, whatever you love. So, I love you too. Yes, I shared the recipe. So the recipe I did share yesterday, we did it on a live. We blended up the fresh corn, and once that was all blended, we put some chia seeds in to make a mock egg. So this is a recipe. I like to recreate recipes that I see online, but do it raw vegan, because you want to have fun. No one's going to stay on as much as you'd love to just eat fruit or just eat veggies for the rest of your life. I swear, half the reason we live is to have fun. So it's fun to have things like this when we're on a health journey. So I see all these viral recipes and I remake them, like the 4 ingredient chocolate donuts I made, like the Barbie pizza recipe I made. I love them. So people used eggs. I made chia and corn eggs. And then you just mix it with grated carrot, put in the dehydrator. It was about 10 hours. Then you pull it out. Then I put it back in just to dry it a bit more. But that's all on the live from yesterday. So I am French. We eat raw food too. So I don't eat meat because I'm vegan. So, hey, I'm good. How are you? I think it's pronounced Anshul. I've got this here from yesterday. I'm going to create the recipe tomorrow morning. Like, it's nighttime here. So we do a lot of skincare, but the skin doesn't care. Is it true? Please cook. I don't eat meat. So I found my skin is got great off the raw foods. So also avocados. So every time I'm on a raw food diet and I emit avocados, like I'd been doing high omega-3 diet, I can only go a month and then I start to notice wrinkles because I am almost 44. There is something to avocados, and Victoria Beckham says she has 4 a day because she believes they're the fountain of youth. I believe that. I have a lot of coconut water. Hydrating helps. But there's something with aging. Instead of putting the oil on your skin, you got to get it through your skin. Hey, my reasons for being vegan. That's a great question. So I'm raw vegan because it saved my life. But I went vegan in so if you know my story, I'd been extremely sick and surgeries, and then I got shingles through the eye and I got FND and I couldn't walk or talk. It was like I'd had a stroke. But I felt when I lost my memory from the trauma I'd been through, it was not just physical or psychiatric or psychological or trauma based. It was like what they call, you can tell someone about a dark night of the soul, but until you've actually lived it, like all the physical stuff was a walk in the park. Having organs removed, walk in the park. Losing yourself, oh my God. Like I was actually tears in my eyes before. I think my greatest fear was always to lose myself, but it's to lose myself again. So as I'm having, let's call it awakening over these years, even finding the raw foods was another step. Going vegan. So when I got shingles through the eye and I'm back in hospital. So I was well for a year in 2018, relatively well. I had missed a lot of my memories. When I got sick again, something came over me, and though at this stage I'd been eating paleo for a year, which was a lot of nuts, seeds, cooked veggies, fruits, and like a meat dish at night, but it was getting into a lot of raw-ish foods and vegan foods. And I feel like as your system cleans, you can hear the universe talk. And as I had shingles had healed, but I had this FND and I was in hospitals, and some days I could not talk at all. But I kept asking anytime I could for vegan food. I want vegan. What are you? I'm a vegan. Because it started to feel it like, how dare I ever eat anything that has a face? That's what kept coming to me. Like little animals have babies. And if I had a baby or my nieces, no one goes near them. Like, what right did I ever have? So this is all happening as like trapped in my own head, and had massive complex PTSD from all the stuff I'd been through. But I will say my journey going vegan was tough, because then I ended up, well, we talked about this last night, I ended up getting lost in the bush for like 2 or 3 days. And then I got scheduled for like 10 months. I think about 9, I had no psych issues until I like split with reality. And then I had constant ones. And during that time, all you want to do is eat. If they inject you with psych meds, which they did, which made me feel so much worse and so much sicker, it's so horrible. It's another thing that motivates you to get well. But I kept asking for vegan food, not for any other reason. I'm sure it would have been more tasty in my brain back then. You just want flavor. If you've been on psych meds, all you want to do, especially the ones in there, you just eat. But I was like, I can't eat anything anymore. So that was what did that. Even when I was homeless, anything I could get was always a plant, or like even when someone bought me a sausage roll, it has to be a vegan sausage roll. I was true vegan, right? But then I was so sick when I got my first place that I couldn't cook the vegan food. And that's how we get into the healing aspect of it. So thank you. You are ignoring me. Sorry, when someone asks me a question, I get into the story. I don't break to answer questions till after, because I lose my train of thought. So I do have Instagram. So I am roarskye. So ROARSKYE. Raw.sky. So honestly, you do. Carnivore makes me feel my best. My back acne cleared up, and now I have abs all the time. I can't complain about the diet. We all need to find what works for us. So I am someone who, every single soul on this planet is on their own journey. You could not come to me when I was let's say I was sick, medicated, seeing a lot of doctors, and screamed at me to change my diet, I would have gone, I'm way past that stage. We changed that. Like, I'm not here to do that. Everybody is doing what feels right for them. I am just here to share my story. And I have never tried carnivore, and I would never now because I'm vegan. But there, I will say I have tried like paleo vegan, and when I was younger, like Atkins. And the one thing is the raw food diet is magical. You feel magical. You feel electric. If I have too much dehydrated food or condiments that are like tamaris, apple cider vinegars, I start to get the worst PTSD. It's like what a naturopath once said to me, who's not vegan at all. He said, "You eating a raw food diet means your brain and body have no memory of a sky with that consciousness." So I think there's that aspect for me as well. But yeah, like if that's what is working, but I will say no food diet that I've ever been on has made me feel electric like the foods. I'm not here to sell it. I can't sell your veggies. But yeah, it makes me feel electric. Everyone needs to find their own way. I would eat raw. I would get sick. My digestion can't take it. Well, I don't have a stomach. So doctors would say to me, and this is where part of my awakening is to free the reality that you've been taught. So what you guys need to know is for 2 years leading up to finding this diet, I couldn't read or write unless they had me on stimulant medication. And for periods, I would get on my computer and game, in fact. But besides that, then I'd go back out. And if a doctor would say raw foods, nuts and seeds is the worst for someone who has no ability to break the food down. Like it's everything when you go through a dark night of the soul or an awakening. Like I know I went through very physical things like that the outside world sees. But part of this is like everything. When this happened, when I worked out the raw foods had me functioning, I was like, well, what else have I got wrong? Like, what else? So a lot of what I did was spend all day outdoors and grounded on the electromagnetic field of the earth. Which is what we were supposed to be on. Like I've interviewed a woman a good friend of mine, Layla, was eating meat out in the earth. So she was a hunter. She wanted to do things naturally, made her own bread, caught her own fish, had her first baby. She slept on the earth every night, had the baby in pain, started eating a raw food diet and did what animals do. She had an exquisite birth where you basically have an orgasm, laughing type thing, and the baby comes out in the amniotic sac like an animal. Her last 2 children where she had no meat, just raw foods, not cooked food, no cooked food. There's something magical about it, but I'm not here to talk anybody into it. That's not my role. My role is to share what I've been through and to support people. I always say this is no matter where you're at, if you're looking after yourself, you're doing a great job every day. If you show up to the mirror every day and you're not destroying yourself, you're not doing self-destructive things, you're doing active things to look after yourself, you're amazing. Like it's the hardest step in this world. We're almost pre-programmed to wake up and harm, like put things in which harm us, as in, foods that don't serve us, that have no energy in it. Put in, not go for a walk or go and do exercise, to just lay around. Anytime we have downtime, instead of being out in nature and doing exercise or talking to people, we're just in front of a screen or watching a podcast like this, which is a good thing. So I've jumped here. I feel my best on raw foods. Digestion is nearly perfect and the energy is through the roof amazing. The energy is hard to describe because it's not the general term we know as energy. Like it's like the energetics of the food are amazing. My favorite vegetable, good question. Oh my God. I'm very reliant on coconuts, like coconut water. If you've watched my channel, you know this. I do love avocados. Like these are the foods I can't do without. We've discussed, I feel like I just age. My skin literally turns to crepe when I don't have avocados. When I don't have avocados, I look young for 44. When I don't have avocados, start to look my age. So they're a pretty good food, but I've been off them for a couple of weeks because they're high in histamines. Everyone does need to find their own way. You can't talk a person. You can't beat someone to submission on their life journey. People have to discover things themselves. Like even my transition, I went from paleo into vegan, each of these steps was massive. Like when I go think back to who I was at those times and what I took on, it's massive. When I committed to raw, I felt the difference. Like I knew this was like, Sky, you're gonna die. Everyone thought they were gonna get the phone call every day that I was dead. So my back was really bad. I believe it was the carbs I was eating. My skin color became tan too. I don't know what happened, to be honest. I never thought about this before. So on the raw food diet, you can eat a lot of sugar. Okay. You can eat a lot of fat. A lot of people like it's a low calorie diet. And I think you have to reestablish, because I feel like that you can get a lot of calories, especially from some nuts and seeds, right? But just like the general rule of thumb with macros, you have to pick a macro or stay very balanced. So like if you get into the fats and then have a lot of sweet fruit, you can call it bad food combining, you can call it blood sugar issues. That's a problem. If you have a lot of sugar and try and put in fat, long term, we're not talking about one-off days here or periods of time. We're talking about if you try to create a diet which is you're going high sugar, high fat, high sugar, high fat. You need to either find a balanced way of having like carbohydrates and a little bit of fat, or fats and a little bit of sugar. You cannot like swing your body. Every time I see it in any diet, that's where problems happen. That's where my problems happen. I feel like the body has this way of, no matter what diet you're go on or find in life, you will find a way, your body finds a way to try and like find the like best of it. Where I've worked out, I was having copious amounts of fruit juice, and then I needed fat, and any fat I added in, I had problems. And then when I tried to have sugar, I was bringing it up. I was vomiting it up. I couldn't get any sugar in, but I think blood sugar issues. I heard of other people who've healed diabetes off doing fruit juice cleanses, but then they've had pancreas issues because they pushed their pancreas. So anyway, basically, even the raw foodists eat different ways. So I'm going off track here. Yes, I'm Australian. Paleo to vegan. Your poor body. Well, yeah, my body had already been. I don't think that was my poor body. I think my poor body was all the 60 surgeries I've had and the 7 to 9 major organs removed. It's hard to give up coffee. I try to make a smoothie with tons of ginger and coconut water to fight it off. Out of all of it, I was on OxyContin for years. I was on a fentanyl patch. I smoked. I was an alcoholic. The hardest thing for me to give up was coffee. And the only cooked thing I have had or gone back to was when I broke my toe and I stopped exercising. I went back to coffee and my stomach was so freaking sore. It's like the hardest thing for me to quit. So I feel you there, but good for you. I feel like coconut water is so electric. I still try find your way if you're not, you wouldn't mind stuff when you are completely healed of and still try find your. I'm not sure what that is about the histamine. My histamines are doing better. So I did not have my salad, life-saving salad for lunch today. I just had I feel like I'm just no good with apple cider vinegar. I feel like I was almost drunk from it. I don't know. I feel like my apple cider vinegar smelt like cheap wine. It may not have reached vinegar. I'm wondering if I put like, a quarter of a cup of wine in my, I don't know. It's from the guy at the farmer's market. Maybe it didn't ferment properly. I felt terrible today, so I went back to a low histamine meal. I felt amazing when I had the life-saving salad again, and then I had it last night, which I made on the live, and I woke up and I literally was like, felt like that vinegar was just, which I don't think it is for histamines. I do better with fresh foods which have histamines in it. They don't bother me to the extent that fermented food does, and so I should avoid that. That's on me. But I had avocado today. It was fine. Avocado, cabbage, cauliflower, and chia and flax, and a little bit of flax oil. And that seems to stop me having mast cell activation. So celibate 7 months, good for you. Oh, thank you. Beautiful eyes and hair and everything else. Great energy. That's what I want to hear. I want people to see that energy. Hopefully my hair and my eyes are an extension of that energy. Would you rather... that one. I see that all the time. I don't know if that's a bot. Really concerning in your old pictures. Yes, I usually bring some of these up. Hang on. because yeah, it's incredible when you have the right food. So I usually do a little bit of a, like, for anyone new here, I can show you a progression. We usually do that here. You see the folder's way down. Okay, so this was me here. That was me back in 2017 before I lost my memory and dissociated. And I was, no one thought I was going to make it. All my blood work was showing. So this is where I've had all these surgeries. I'm coming off a whole lot of pain medications. I was already on a whole lot of hormone medications, having bowel operations as well. And basically my blood work was showing so many anomalies and they didn't know why. So I get rushed to ICU. And then I dissociated. So I lost my memory. And the trauma part, it's really funny. Someone actually brought up last night, I'm surprised you remember all your PTSD events and all your psychiatric hospital events. And I'm like, it's funny you say that because I do remember those. I don't remember all the years properly. I can tell you some of the things that happened, but I have no emotional connection. Like when I tell the story of like psych hospitals and I got lost in the bush and I got shingles through the eye, I can feel all that. But when I talk about all this, even though I wasn't medicated for all of it, but a good part of it, I really have no connection to it yet. When it comes up, I get quite emotional. It's part of trauma. Anyway, so that there was, and then I got quite well because I lost my memory. I got very well. I don't think I have a photo here. There's a photo on my Instagram page if you scroll to the bottom. Then this is me when I found raw foods. I'll show you. We've lost the picture here. My eyes are a bit yellow because my liver was failing. Lost most of my hair. I'm going to the wrong side here. So that's me, and I'll show you. There's actually a picture you can see of like just, I think it's like 4 to 5 weeks later. I'm actually sitting up. It's my birthday. I'm very skinny, but oh, you can't see in that picture. I don't know whether you can see any of these. Anyway, I'll show you what 10 months of raw food did. That's what you want to see. 10 months of raw food. So that other picture with the hair that's all funny and not well, that was like a week of raw foods. And then that's like 10 months. Yeah. So it's been a journey. Just changing your awareness over the next 3 months. I don't know what that means. How are you, sister? I'm good. I'm good now. Yeah, I can't remember parts of my childhood. I think it's just part of it. No, it's not that. It's that it's almost like a trauma thing where, before I split with reality, everything was linear. Like it just traveled through time. And then it was like I became a completely different person. I couldn't access my memories or thoughts or even say my name or remember my address or all sorts of things. And then it's like being born again even is like a good name to call it. You have to relearn everything, including having these FND where I couldn't walk and talk most days. I was in a neurological hospital for 10 weeks. I had to relearn to tie my shoes, butter toast, shuffle across the room. And someone brought up how well I tell that part of the story. And it's because I could barely remember it was like starting my life over, like I died and was reborn or something. It was weird. What are your thoughts on the original Jurassic Park film? So this is it. I would love to be like when I remember my things closer where I'm like I can feel it, but I do remember, I recall this but can't feel it. That's the difference. That part of my life, I can't feel things. Like some of them have come back after a juice cleanse where I'll be walking down the street and I can feel these massive chunks of memory. So I could tell you where I went. This is an example. It was like I could remember my formal. I was like, I remember the night and the dress and like have good feelings around it. And before that, I couldn't do that. But so when I recall seeing Jurassic Park, I was 12. It was like the best year of my life as I remember because I was healthy. So that's all my memories of Jurassic Park. Hello. Um, I'm good. So you look reborn because you are. I believe so. I believe people call it the dark night of the soul. Some people say we have, I don't know, it's like being two completely people. I actually had tears in my eyes today because anytime I start to feel like the person I was when I was really sick and near death, I get so emotional because I thought I lost her. And I used to refer to myself as different skies. So I'd be like normal things that people say, like young, like when I would remember things, it's like I would go to a certain part of my brain where that part of my life is locked up and it stopped becoming one person. Like, you know how you evolve slowly into different stages of yourself and you're not really aware of it? It was like being completely aware that I had no access to the sky that I'd always known. The sky was the same from when the sky was the same from when she was born up until this point where I stopped talking. I stopped believing the whole universe. It was like it started singing at me and talking and call it break with reality. But it was like I wasn't prepared for the matrix dropping away. Essentially, is what it felt like. It felt like for some reason the universe was like, you're going to awaken now and we're going to take the shield away and whatever you've kind of earned from this point is going to help you through. I'd earned nothing. And so, but I think it also shocked me into realizing that the trauma you think people go through, nothing even in a movie compares to what happened next. So even losing organs, having them removed, being in ICU, having like, I was going to say 20, I think it was getting close to 50 blood transfusions. It was so many, I wouldn't stop bleeding. Walking, losing yourself, like what you have, if you have not had too much trauma, be grateful for. I'm so great. I think that's why I look after myself so well. And I do this to encourage people to look after themselves, because losing myself is like the hardest thing, like losing who you are. And I think you can see it in the photos, is because when you found yourself, like I've worked hard for every hair on my head, all the raw food meal, every day showing up for myself, every day having past addictions, and sometimes them coming up and me saying no. That's what all these hair on my head represents. It took almost 4 years to like put blonde back in it again. I was pretty fair, but that I'm so grateful for. I grew up, I always say this, I went to a private school, lived on the water, fancy, designer handbags for when I was 15. Like my issues where I wasn't getting into some sort of like fancy place. Then I slowly got sick, but I was still, I just, until you've lost everything, including yourself, and you become so grateful for just a roof over your head and just, yeah, just that is what I hope people see, because that's like, I feel like when a lot of what we're born into is well off. I mean, when I was younger, I remember seeing when I was at university, I didn't finish because I was so sick, but I went to university. I remember learning that it's like 80% of the world thinks if you have a roof over your head, running water, and a toilet inside or outdoors, you're rich. And I'm like, in my head, if I was like most of my life growing up, even at my sickest times, that's just not good enough. Like now, after what I've experienced, where I've lived homeless and I've lost everything, is my first place means so much to me. Yet it was a funny little like one bedroom shoebox type place. But when you have nothing and you finally have a roof over your head, like the gratitude I sit in. And so I think we can destroy ourselves a lot because we think we don't have enough. Whereas now I feel like I'm sitting in riches every day. Like, and that I think helps propel a positive life. Whereas I think before I was just born into a society or a matrix, or, you know, wanting more, even when I was sick, more. If I'm in pain, it's not my fault, it's the doctor's fault, more. Like now it's like all of that was my fault. When I say my fault, it's my choice. Is nature was always there. This option was always there to spend days when I healed outdoors, and just eat the fresh food and get sunlight. But I couldn't see it. And a lot of people stay in victimhood because then they're like, society made me do it. No, I was blind. I wouldn't even, if someone presented me with raw food at my sickest hour, I would have gone, I would have said this. I would have said, do you know what I've been through? So I've got all this so I feel like whatever happened to me, has like, I don't know, it's really transforming. Um, why would she want to go back when she feels this good now? There would be no point in that. Yes, I I do. The one thing I do sometimes struggle with is that I missed my life. That, yeah. Plus, I had a hysterectomy, so that side was taken. Well, no, I don't want to say taken because it was my choice. I do, but then I was like, I always think like, even if I had the most amazing healthy life up until this point, I'd still be 44. Like that ain't changing a thing, right? So, um, I'm happy you were healthy at 12 in the movie. Yeah, I am too. That is really nice. It is really nice to have memories. Like I do have them, and you're reminding me of that. I think I can get caught up. Understand something though you wouldn't ever know. I understand your point. If you haven't tried something you wouldn't know. Uh, dead is ghost as a memory which doesn't even exist. True. I guess that if that's what you're saying, like I guess even like when you are very high on raw foods, I say high, it sounds like I'm on drugs, but I mean very liquidy fruit. You are so present. You don't ruminate. You can't have anxiety because you're literally so electrified in the field. I don't even eat just fruit, but you are. I can't stay there with these lights and being inside. I need to eat more grounding foods. If I lived on a tropical island and had denser fruits, possibly, and I was outdoors more. But that is what was beautiful about doing very fresh food, very high fruit for 2 years, because you don't think about the past, but I feel like that got me well enough to start to process, because what was so apparent was how I react in the world as my memory started to return after I'd been juicing. Memories, I mean like feelings and emotions, is I started to become a different person. How our past makes us who we are, how we present ourselves, how confident we are. The more I can remember emotionally who I was, the more confident I am. I was a very confident person. Even though I was really sick, I lost all of that. And as I I think it's very different levels of healing. It's probably just trauma healing. I don't think this is specific to me. I think mine was very dramatic when it switched off, but I think everyone is constantly going through it. I have a question. What do I cook for tomorrow for my school's nutrition month? Just asking. Great question. Well, you could cook this. So this is the viral. We made this raw vegan, but you can cook it. One sec. So we made this. Well, I made this, and this is the viral carrot wraps. But instead of everyone's been using grated carrot and egg. So you grate the carrot, mix through eggs, and put it in a pan. But I think, yeah, that's it. You can use corn and chia seeds. The recipe's on the last live. You grate carrot, you blend up corn with some chia seeds. You then mix that mock egg mix through the carrots. And then you don't necessarily need the mold. I did put a link to the mold in the recipe there, but you don't need it. You can just put it on a stove top or in the oven. Just make 4 patties or flatbread things, and that's really healthy. And you can fill it with salads. You can fill it with whatever you like. But that would be really cool. You'd be a great life coach. Oh, thank you. I guess part of what I do with, I am a raw food coach, is that aspect. I'm very much like when I work with somebody, I've never seen 2 people heal the same. So I'm not someone who drills in the same program on each person. Like each person is at a certain place and you've got to work with that. And, but thank you. So I don't know whether you have some carrot and corn, even if it's tinned corn, blend that up with some chia seeds. If you've got chia or flax seeds, I'm not afraid anymore. It's very smooth. Thank you. I hope so. Sky, you're a lovely person. Seriously, thanks for all you do. Keep sharing and being you. I'm going back to bed. Much love. Oh, that's such a nice message. Thank you so much. I do this. You guys help me as well by like sharing this. It like helps me process or make it feel normal. And also, I know it helps people. So, at this age, you are stunning. Thank you. I am single. I am from Sydney in Australia. I am an Aussie. So meat is bad for you. I love it, and this is true. So I look, when I went vegan, I was in hospital again, and a nutritionist came and said to me, and this is fact now, that meat is carcinogenic. We're separating here that I am a vegan and veganism, just the principle of health coming from meats, is that meat is now classed as a carcinogenic, but even before it was classed as a carcinogenic, is processed meat is classed as a carcinogenic, is this nutritionist was saying to me, they now know that diabetes, high blood sugar, arthritis, he's just listing off every disease I'd ever known, is, just one second, I will remove this person, sorry, and this person, has, causes every disease known. So yes, meat is not good. And the reason it tastes good is because it's stimulating in the body. And also you're feeding the microbiome that you've built. Wait till you see how giving life can be. Why is that still going there? Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. Hopefully I got rid of that person here and this person. I think I got rid of it. Yep, there we go. Okay, sorry guys. Yeah. Yeah, so basically meat before about being a vegan is not serving anyone. The amount of people you hear that stopped meat and dairy, and especially skin issues, respiratory issues. So why is this person coming back up? I deleted them. How are they coming back in? I have no idea. There we go. Let's try that. That'll do. This should work now. Hopefully. Sorry, guys. My age, I'm 44, almost 44. Yeah, so I think if you want to be healthy, you have to start where you're at. There's no use romancing over a raw food diet or something which is like steps ahead. Like there's so much value out of every step you take towards learning to look after yourself. The reason I can stay raw vegan now is because of all the things I learned along the way being paleo and vegan. And then when you get into raw foods and you want to go back and how did I stay at that level? Because you're jumping between levels of consciousness all the time. Not that I've gone back to cooked vegan or paleo. Lessons I learned by showing up for myself each day when I first stopped drinking and smoking and pharmaceutical medications and junk food vegan. And I had to find ways that I was going to cope in the world. And all those tools had to be learnt at that level. I couldn't just skip all that and think that I was going to juice my way into raw foods. A lot of people think that they're going to juice for this certain period and that'll fix something in them and then they'll be raw. The tools you learn every day when you start to look after yourself. Another one, so it took me a year and a half to run, but to get to that first stage of running, I had to walk every day. I walked 4 to 7 kilometers every day for a year and a half until I could run. I could not run without doing the part before. So this is why I'm not like, guys, you need to all just start eating raw food. It's not how you learn. And I know that because I feel like I lost everything. And the only way I'm able to stay where I am now was because of tapping away at life by looking after myself every day. And like some days like today where as I said, I woke up, wasn't feeling as great and I had 2 podcasts and a client that canceled. So I had more time to rest. And some days that's what it looks like, looking after yourself. Other days it's Pilates and running and cold ocean swims. and going to the farmers markets and creating a lot of recipes and doing podcasts and helping people heal. But then other days it's like, some days, especially I went on a holiday and I struggled with addiction. As I've said, this past year and a half, I've had a lot of this emotional memory come back. And as it has, I've remembered more and more about my past. And with that comes a different level of struggle. Because you remember things. But I went away with my family and I did a lot of these lives because everyone is out drinking and eating foods that I don't eat anymore. And I had to learn at that stage, once again, how was I going to cope? And I was doing, if you guys followed me at the time, I was doing the high omega-3 diet, which I still pretty much am doing. So all I was eating was cabbage, cauliflower, chia, and flax on a holiday. Usually I'd go to a restaurant and order a salad, bring my own dressing or bring avocado. And I couldn't do that, as well as facing addictions from my past. So I dealt with that by staying really hydrated at night, where other people, my family members, were drinking. I wasn't going to the dinners with them. I'd spend time during the day with them. I would hydrate at night because anytime so I'd get on these lives with a lot of coconut water. I don't have addiction. Speaking of hydration, I don't have as much addiction when I'm hydrated. And coconut water we've spoken about this before, where it's the same as the blood plasma in your body, and they've used it in war times to infuse in people who are bleeding out. But you can't skip those lessons. Like, it doesn't mean I'm a bad person or I'm bad because I'm facing addiction. I'm learning lessons. The lessons I learned there are probably why I'm about to go to New York, and I might get tempted there. But I know what to do because I looked after myself in other times of my life. So what I'm saying is, wherever you're at, no matter what you're eating, you might decide that the one thing you're going to do for yourself each week now is 3 times a week you're going to walk. It might not even be 3 times. It might be 1 time if you're not doing anything. For another person who's already walking 3 times, they might say, you know what, every Sunday I'm going to do a light jog for 500 meters. I just feel like the one thing I learned in life is I never got anywhere until I looked after myself every day and just kept trying to level up, but stay where I am and work on where I am. There's no quick like I will cleanse my way out of this, or I'm going to like dry fast. I don't know what people do, but I've never got anywhere besides anytime I've done, and I have got some, like I've done fruit, grapes for 3 weeks. I've done juicing for like 80 days. Is when you come off that, I have faced unimaginable issues that I feel like maybe I shouldn't have pushed myself. Like I feel like, and you see these people who go from eating a standard diet to just straight to juicing, and then they're all the way back to eating meat, and then they're water fasting, and then they're going all the way back, and now they've figured out they've got to have 2 cleanses and it goes on. And I feel like anytime I've pushed myself, like out of this, like, let's call it what humans don't want, which is like mundane, right? We want the quick fix, and the brain finds a way to keep finding that even on a health lifestyle. There is none. The more you work on yourself and exactly where you're at, and as I said, just say you've decided to stop eating meat. It might be, it's only you're going to face this battle, is it might take every cell in your body for 3 months not to order McDonald's or something with meat in it, right? And the lesson you learn in those 3 months, how you cope, will give you the strength, the courage, the direction, the tools to get to the next level. And if you try skip that and be like, well, I'm just going to do smoothies for 6 weeks and that will fast track me. No, it won't. After the smoothies is when the biggest cravings and swings, and trying to regulate the amount of people who come off water fasts and go all the way back to not just cooked foods but fast foods, compared to people who have had to learn at whichever level they're at how they're going to manage. And the skills you learn, you may do a podcast and be like, guys, I went vegan. Here's how I did it. And no one can really know what you go through, because when I think back to doing that step, now it's like easy, but it's because I worked back in, when I was in hospitals. So I hope that is some knowledge which helps some people. I don't know how this person is back. There we go. My hobbies are making raw food, which I usually do on here. I usually just turn the camera on usually, but I had a party on tonight. YouTube, helping people, Pilates. I love spending time with my nieces. I love getting in the ocean. I love nature. What else do I like doing? I love coconut water. I love chatting to my friend. Most of my friends are online. I love that I'm connected to people who are like-minded like that. I love doing this. So I'm 44 and want to marry you. I don't have any children. So because I had the hysterectomy is one reason, but mostly because I was sick. Even if I hadn't had that, I would have still been so sick. I actually haven't had a boyfriend in like 15 years. 15 years. Because I've always been sick. I've been well for 4 years, but I think being on a raw food diet is very different when you're looking for someone. But it's kind of like you want to match the energy, right? Is the more I look after me, I want to meet somebody who looks after themselves. And that doesn't even necessarily mean the person is a raw vegan, but you've still got to match energy. Because otherwise if you don't match the energy of someone, they just eventually drift out of your life. The universe will find a way to remove what doesn't match your energy. So work on finding your high energy is what you should do every day. Because then the universe sends you things that match the energy, and you can't explain that to someone. Like anytime you work on yourself, the universe will reward you. And it's such simple things which healed me when I couldn't read much or get online much. For years, is that it's the simple things like being outdoors with your feet on the ground, eating the fresh food, getting offline from being online all the time, which I couldn't do at the time anyway. If you do anything good, you don't need a monetary reward for it. You will get a reward in some way. Like even if you've done something and you're like, oh, that person's not paying me, or don't think like that. Just be grateful that you got to do that. Especially when you've been in my situation where you spent so much time in bed, you're grateful you can do anything. So I don't have any. I have nieces. I am seeing the chat. Sorry, someone was like, oh, thank you. Shannon said very inspiring. So thank you. I have 20-year addiction to antidepressants and my brain is messed up. That happened to me. We've spoken on here before. I was on SSRIs for pain for 20 years. I was on amphetamines for about 15 years for ADHD. And then they ripped that off me with a fentanyl patch, and they ripped the Valium off me. They ripped my hormones off me. They ripped, well, that's enough for now. And then they put Epilim in and risperidone, and man, that's the worst experience I've ever had in my whole life. And I've had organs removed. I will say this with certainty. Out of all those drugs I talked about, SSRIs, when I work with people, and including myself, are the worst. If you're going to come off it, my greatest suggestion is slow. Don't think you have to get rid of it. Just if you want to, at the start, you can halve it a little bit, whatever, work with your doctor. But at the end, if you need to do it very slowly, if you shock the brain and shock yourself into trauma, it will just end up a mess. That's my greatest suggestion. And I have been injected, and then, so for the last, then I have been in 9 psychiatric hospitals, 5 times acute units. You can imagine what, I don't even know all the things they've given me, but it was horrible. And I believe even opioid pain, it's still physical to me, and even Valium type pain, there is a depressive aspect, but it's not dissociative. SSRIs cause dissociative coming off. You have a look on the back, it says you may not be able to tell if you're awake or asleep. Well, damn, why didn't you tell me that when I first went on it? Anyway, my greatest suggestion is you can do it. If I've done it and they've put me back on it and I've come off, and that's when I start to dissociate most. Whenever I come off an SSRI, I end up in a psych unit because I can't tell that if I'm awake or asleep because they take them straight off. Anyway, diversing here is you can do it. I work with people who do it. They're usually on a light diet, which is helping them a lot. If you have psychiatric issues and addiction issues, read Nutrient Power. I bought this up before. It's a book by he's a neuropsychiatrist. It's about how every psychiatric disease he has managed to reverse. It's a nutrient deficiency in the brain, which cannot be cured technically by food or by giving someone an oral infusion. That he has to take blood, urine, and tissue sample, match it up, and if you give the wrong combination to a certain diagnosis, you can increase it. So just say zinc helps with ADHD, but you give it to a schizophrenic, you will cause mania. So it's an amazing book. It's called, and I'll tell you if anyone interested, I bought this up before. I'll tell you who it's by. I never remember. I thought it was William J. Walsh. You are boring. That's okay. You can leave. Connor's a bot. Okay, I can remove. Hey, from Belgium. Oh, yeah, I have kind of done a kitchen tour. I do want to film a kitchen tour and what I eat in my life, but I've been a little bit busy with work. Oh, thank you, Vincent. I think this is a serious question. So, anyone on here like to put small amounts of poo in their children's food to help their germ resistance? You should not do that. First off, I think most of people's problems as they get older comes from childhood trauma. The more you can trust in your children and treat them, it's not even like adult responsibilities, but you have to remember children are the closest to source. If you on a spiritual level if you actually sit and listen to a child, it's pure, and we don't want to shut that down. And I feel like it's just even if science says it, there's a line where we can learn from children when we're shutting them down. And I think that's just another aspect of trying to manipulate children. And even if you're not, it's not coming from malice, which I don't think it is. It is perceived by like that. And the trust issues a child will have when they find that out. I am Australian. Luke said, kudos to you for being so honest, Sky. I have found that the more honest I am with myself, the more I know myself. And that aspect of it comes where I even think about this when I go online most times is it doesn't bother me what people know about me because I already feel with part of my awakening like that the world knew it anyway. It's like weird. It's like all of a sudden my life is being walked in a light where imagine everybody already knew. And I just find like not only does it help lots of other people, but the more I like sit in this space, the more like you don't have anxiety or either because you can trust in what's going to come out. So I hope it helps people. So the name of the book is Nutrient Power. If you have like it's I don't even know how when I was on a juice cleanse, I was getting into a lot of books. Nutrient Power, Heal Your Biochemistry and Heal Your Brain. So he talks about in this book how he goes to psych units with people who have locked-in syndrome, which is very similar to FND, which I had. And people have not moved. They're frozen. They're locked in. He would take tissue sample, urine sample, and blood sample and match them up. Oh, thank you, Luke. That's so kind of you. Thank you. He will take all three, match them up, and then he will find where in your brain you're missing nutrients. And this is very different. This isn't just correcting an imbalance in the blood. We are talking about if the brain has dried up. your body's inflamed, it ain't sending nutrients into the depths of your brain. You need to have blood and breathing going on. You need to have digestion going on. If they stop, you die. You don't die if you lose some consciousness in your head. So your body's not sending anything there anymore. That's what we have to learn. This is why the raw food diet works so well, because digestion can take up to 80% of energy. You have a raw food diet, you take it down to 20. So that's why it's not that the raw food specifically fixes something. It's that body's able to now do its job because it's free. It's got all this energy. But basically, the same sort of principles apply with the brain, where if you give anybody any nutrients, even through the gut, is you're really trying to feed a microbiome first. And if you give them magnesium, you can throw out your calcium and your potassium and your sodium. And so the body's now in a state of chaos, even though the brain might need magnesium. So this doctor with this locked-in syndrome took these samples of this person, injected them with what they need, and this person got up and was walking around the psych unit or the hospital, and other doctors said, because this is all new type stuff, said it's just a coincidence. And it's just a coincidence. And then he stopped giving the injections, and the person went back into locked-in syndrome. But this principle goes that maybe if you read this book and you see what someone with schizophrenic is missing, and you start looking after yourself, and you get rid of all slowly get rid of all the stuff which is not serving you, and you focus on those nutrient profiles, I do believe it would have a profound effect. I believe it's kind of why the raw food diet works, is you've got a body that's now running at a higher efficiency, so the body can send the nutrients up to the brain because it's got the extra energy. So thank you again, Luke. Had some sauerkraut this morning. Good for you. That's some gut healthy bacteria right there. I don't know whether I did it on a live. Sauerkraut's really easy to make. It's just salt, water, and it's very rewarding making your own food. I feel like the most pronounced version of what you are describing is Alzheimer's and dementia. Yes. So you see them talk about how Alzheimer's and dementia is diabetes of the brain. But I truly just think this is what I think of disease is, as the body gets more taxed, especially as we get older, is it just stops sending energy to places that don't require you won't die. Like the body's doing its job. Like just say you get a funny knee, it's probably because you've always had a weakness to one side of the body, and eventually your body has stopped sending this as much nutrients to the legs because it needs to spend more over time on the fact that our waists are getting bigger. We're getting clogged arteries. So all the energy is going into all these spots just to keep you running. And it doesn't even go in to fix these spots. Usually it's just sending more blood and more energy to keep the oxygen and digestion going. It doesn't care about the bump on your leg or the bruise you get or the bed sore or the brain. You can essentially have it almost shut down. And as long as your hindbrain, the dinosaur brain, reptilian brain is still working, it's the autonomic nervous system that needs to work. All the other stuff are just gifts. And that's kind of what happened to me too. But yes, I think that's a prime example, is that's what happens with Alzheimer's dementia, is you're still breathing. But the brain over time is just calcified because it's not getting the energy. And I truly believe that if you ever get up onto a raw food diet, you will experience what I'm talking about. And it's not simply about getting rid of symptoms, because many diets can do that if you work hard at them. But this is something about freeing up energy. Like I literally went from being mostly in bed, dissociative, to having my blood work was terrible, addiction problems, to all of a sudden going, oh, this is what life's supposed to feel like. And never have I experienced that. And it was only I really had to stick to just fresh food for years, because as soon as I put anything dry in, I could feel the energy drop, and it wasn't a lack of nutrients. Some of these dried foods have more nutrients. And I think the other example is people are like, you're missing this vitamin and that vitamin. Well, someone can't live off vitamin pills, but they can live off fresh foods, even if the fresh foods don't have all the vitamins. But if you give someone just vitamins, they'll eventually die. They need actual like movement and food. People can't just live off of, I mean, I'm sure they could. I don't know what sort of consciousness level they'd be at, but like, you get what I'm saying is someone's not going to get healthier from vitamin tablets only. But if you give them fresh food, even if they don't get the correct nutrients, they start to get better. And that's that Carillion photography, right? Where we have energetics and we've broken everything down to chemistry and physics and biochem, but at a whole, we are geometry and we are like vibrational energy. We're energetics. And I think there's something with that. And this is coconut, apple, and vanilla. It's my nightcap. So yes, it is. It's about if you can learn on this planet to love yourself and look after yourself, you're doing your job. That's all I did to get well. Is I like it wasn't strictly. I didn't know what a raw food diet was. All I knew was these foods were brighter than cooked foods, and I was attracted to that, and that I felt like a better version of myself on them. And then I worked out if I chose to put something in like alcohol, is afterwards I would feel pain. So that's self harm. And I think I had to come to that realization and only come to that realization when I couldn't get distracted by a television or reading, or like I really couldn't do anything but sit with my own feelings. So they were loud. That's all I had. And I was like, okay, well, I can't harm myself. So every time I wanted to do something which had a result, like, and that for me was anything cooked, I was like, I had to remind myself that that is harm and we're about loving sky. And that's how I got there. It wasn't, couldn't even read what a raw vegan was. The only way I knew what it was I could get on Instagram and there was photos. And I was a vegan and I saw these pictures of, because I was having salads. So I looked salads and I saw there was raw vegans. And that's how I knew I was a raw vegan. But it took, even now I don't read a lot because then it takes over what I feel I learn or download. Yes, cabbage, salt water. What about bread if you make it yourself? 100%. Especially, I do raw breads, but making your own food and knowing what's in it, it will be so amazing for your body. A lot of people do sourdough breads. In fact, a lot of raw foodists, if they go back to anything that's cooked, usually it's like a sourdough bread or an Ezekiel bread. But essentially, I suggest to anyone, if you're at like a standard American diet or a normal diet, first goal is to stop eating processed food. I swear, what you will start to feel from your food is you'll actually feel how it affects you. Like that's like you can whatever from there. I don't even say it's like you're bad because you're eating meat. I think you will understand what meat is doing once you not, and you can make that decision yourself. Once you don't, there's something about those chemicals. It's just the body gets, it doesn't know what to do. It's too much of one thing without the rest. So you get a little, you bite into a cucumber. Each little cell inside the cucumber pops open in balance. So it's sat in balance and it opens and it crosses the wall with some hydration, enzymes, vitamins, minerals, but it's able to sustain itself already before it goes through the gut. You put in something concentrated, including supplements. It's like the body has to pull stuff to balance it, including usually it's minerals, hydration and minerals, which are like your calciums and your potassiums, and so that it can get into the body. But then you've pulled the calcium from your bones. So what I'm trying to encourage people to do is stop doing that. Is even if you don't go vegan, you can learn while you eat the food if this energy is for you. It's that stuff is not real. Like when I got on this, to eat food every day that tastes completely different is really foreign to people, because I grew up, you want tomato sauce, or in Australia it's tomato sauce, it's ketchup. Your brain literally has a program. You don't even like a different brand. I remember I wouldn't have the low salt brand. I had to have the Heinz ketchup or whatever, because your brain is programmed to a chemical thing. You want barbecue sauce. If it wasn't this set brown barbecue sauce in a bottle, I wasn't having it as a child. Like if you free yourself from that, which essentially is going into your body, not whole, not balanced. But besides that, it's very freeing to make your own tomato sauce with some sun-dried tomatoes, I think a bit of tamari and some dates. You got tomato sauce, and every time you make it, it'll taste different. It will never be identical, because when they build those sauces, even besides the big companies, I'm talking about that it's the same chemical components that they put in it every time. It will taste identical. And it's very freeing for everything. Every time I have it, like it's, I will make this juice again, but it will never taste exactly the same. And if I go somewhere else in the world, it will taste different, because their soil has different nutrients. So the apples and the coconuts will have different nutrients. Unfortunately, I didn't use fresh vanilla. That will always taste the same. I make cucumber salad a few times. It was so good. I ate too much. I learned the hard way that too much cucumber makes you poop. Poop's not a bad thing. I say, I don't think there's a problem if you start overeating on fresh food. You will learn, obviously, not to overeat on it, but I always think it's kind of better to do that as the body's adjusting than overeat on anything else. So, did you used to eat meat? If so, do you still have cravings for it? I did, but not much. So even once I lost my stomach or had my stomach removed, it was very hard to get it through. But even before that, the only meats from when I was 16, like when you go into like the depths of what I call womanhood, I noticed a lot of women around me, you become very sensitive. The smell of meats, like I just didn't want to be around it. I would have a bit of ripped up ham in a sandwich or bolognese, and occasionally at restaurants, like pieces. It wasn't something I ever liked. It was more a flavor thing. That's what I think you have to think about. Do you actually enjoy it? Or is it, to me, it was like the times where the meat was so marinated, it was the vegan buzz anyway, but I didn't know it. Like most things, or like when I had some ripped up ham on a sandwich, it was mostly like coleslaw, avocado, other things, the bread. And that was, what was that bringing? It wasn't the pig, it was just the salt, probably. But most of the times I've eaten meat, like the other thing I would have would be like a chicken stir fry, but the meat had to be cut up very finely and coated in honey and soy sauce. So not that I have honey now, but same maple syrup and soy sauce. So just marinate. And most of the time, I'd have those stir fries. I wouldn't even eat the chicken. I'd eat the veggies. And I think the chicken flavor was just something that added more salt to it. So there's that aspect. But then when I lost my stomach, barely, because if I ate meat, it took too long to get through. It was anything dense was so much in my stomach after it was removed. So going vegan wasn't a stretch, but going vegan was fully not for my health. It was totally conscious awakening, but I do believe I got there because I got rid of everything processed, and I got to make that decision myself. Like being paleo meant that everything was nut, seed, fruit, veg, or a meat. And it was very clear over time that I felt an elevation was through the vegan, but more so it was just this consciousness thing all the time when I went vegan. So where do you get your fresh foods? The supermarkets suck. I don't know where you are. So in Australia, it's not so bad, I don't think. I healed myself with Vegemite, not with Vegemite, with fruit and veg from just Woolworths or a local fruit shop. In America, I don't know. They seemed really chemical in America, but I could be wrong. I don't know. And then when I got myself well enough to work and afford organic food, I would pay for organic. But if I need to grab something now, you got to be realistic here. I will just go to the shops and get it. Like, how difficult is it if I have to wait till Saturday to get to the farmer's market? That's just a stress. I'm not going to stay raw vegan. I actually think I'm a bit sinusy from the, I'm never good with processed things. So that vanilla essence, I think it's like, I don't know. I think it set me off. I wish I could have, like I think vanilla essence, vanilla pods are expensive. But anyway, we'll see. I think that's what's given me a bit of sinus tonight. But that's just me. I'm not saying that's bad. So yeah, I will mostly get it from the farmers markets on a Saturday, and it takes time. Like my spare time is spent loving finding the best farmers market. I've connected to this amazing guy who it's spray free and bio dynamic. It's quite cheap. I speak to him all the time. What's in season? You know, people might see my lifestyle as like, oh, that's lucky. You like, I would be able to do it too if I could make raw recipes like Sky. I would be able to do it too if I was close friends with a farmers markets guy. I started on disability payments and Woolworths with no family support. Like I knew this worked, so my money would go to rent and food, and I think my internet bill and occasional petrol, which I didn't use the car much because I couldn't really drive. Once I got better, I did drive a bit, but I didn't need much petrol. But you build your life. You can't know, universe will not give you what you think is the answer. So this is another thing I learned when I got well is I always thought that I couldn't do healthy because the people who did healthy were just good at it. Like you have to just learn. Like you have to spend your time instead of like getting well and wanting to go, you know, you work and you spend, not I was working back then, but you spend your Saturday night, your reward is a bottle of bourbon or I don't know, a glass of bourbon or something. Is no, your reward is coconut water. As I said, if you look after yourself, the universe rewards you. And it still doesn't mean that it's always easy, but those challenges just move you forward more. So that's kind of like how I suggest people go is don't overthink that all the fruit and veg in supermarkets is bad. What in the supermarket do you like? So even when I first started, I didn't like all the foods I like now. I liked corn, I liked carrots, I liked avocado, I liked mango, and we're going into spring. No, we're in winter, but soon we moved into spring. I liked chili. You have to start with what you know you can buy and eat, cooked or raw. If you try like think of the whole picture, it ain't working. It's not going to work. That's why even when I worked that out when I got well, even my nieces, I don't want them to go raw, but I would love to see them eat more raw food. Or if they got sick, know about raw. And they did. Whenever they spend time with me, especially when they were younger, they'd come back and like, Mom, take me to the shops. I want to pick veggies for the week and try all new fruits and stuff. And so just start with what you can do. What's the difference between vegetarian and vegan? So vegetarian still have cheese and eggs. Vegan is nothing comes from an animal. So no clothes, no cosmetics, no honey. It's that we shouldn't be taking from animals. And to be honest, I would get it wrong at the start. Like my whole biggest thing when I went vegan was to not eat anything with a face. I still would, like I'd buy sunscreen and they're like, oh, it's vegetarian, it's got honey in it. And I'm like, oh, am I not supposed to have honey? Like, and then I myself would think about why and if that was something I wanted to get out of my life. I never do things just because somebody says. It's all because how does that serve me? The magnesium worked a treat on tennis elbow. Magnesium's amazing. It's like the only supplement I take at night. If you're in Australia, Fusion Magnesium Advanced is life. I don't take anything, but I take that. Helps with my gut, helps with my sleep. I wake up, I have a great bowel movement. It helps me fall asleep at night. I feel more relaxed. It's amazing. I healed myself with Vegemite. My sister, I think, grew up on Vegemite sandwiches. It's a fermented food. Yeah, coconut, cucumber vanilla sounds nice. Did I say cucumber? I meant to say apple, coconut, vanilla, but that still wouldn't be bad. Your voice has magic. That's the magical fruits. Do you grow your own veggies and fruit? No, I live in an apartment which doesn't even have a garden. I could technically grow food on my balcony, but here's the thing. I have my limits. So if I put something on a balcony and I do have days where like I don't like to overdo things. I don't bring something into my life until I know I can do it without stress. And to me, anything that requires like it's going to require energy basically, which I'm just not prepared to give at this stage. I will get there. The reason is I feel like I give a lot of my energy at the moment to certain things, and I know like you have to water them, and it sounds easy, but then like you notice I've tried, and then birds get it, and then possum gets it, and then the wind comes and it blows the dirt across that, and it's an apartment, so it blows it across everyone's. And to me, that is more stress than I'm willing to give. Does it mean I'm a bad person? Nope, it means I'm a realist. Whatever you do, don't do it with stress. The brain's job is to get you out of pain. That's its whole job. That's why eventually if something starts to hurt you or feel too tough or feel difficult, you think you give up, but your brain's doing its job. It doesn't want you to consistently, like it's like a weight. So the reason people stay with addictive things is there's still pleasure. If you slightly increase it, sometimes there's more levels to that, but you can always trust that even though if you drink, you may feel like shit the next day, but you can also trust that you will feel good. And the brain's job is at some level to make you feel good. If you eat porridge every day and you hate it and you can't feel the results of the porridge, your brain's job is to stop you eating that. Because unless you feel something from it, you won't stay. So just say you start eating the porridge and you notice that the pain in your legs goes. That pain, that pleasure has to be enough to keep you doing it. And this is where raw foods really helps with addiction. It gives you something. You actually got this life force inside of you. That is the reason I can use my addictive tendencies to stay raw. But my whole point is whatever you choose to do, it has to have a pleasure component. And that's why I'm all about have your mocktail, make your recipes. Because if there's no pleasure, the brain's job is to, you'll think, you'll be like, oh, it was all the fiber, it gave me gas. If it was work, if you felt like, if you could consciously feel the benefits, you would stay doing it. And this is why you need to do it slowly and not shock yourself, because your brain's job is to turn you around and go back to, people call it comfort, but in your comfort, you're still getting pleasure. That's what I didn't have with me anymore. So when I went raw, there was no comfort or pleasure on the other side. So that helped me or catapulted me to stay raw. But I also knew my weaknesses, which was that most diets I followed a book and I was bored. And I knew that down the track, but you got to think like I had no comforts left. It was that I got something out of the raw foods and everything else just made me sick. Whereas most people, their brain has established that there's pain, but there's pleasure because you build a life. And now what we're wanting you to do is eat a way which is so foreign, you're finding nothing good because you haven't adjusted. And so the body goes back. So if you chip away at what you already like, so that's why if you want to go eat more plants, right? You might be a sweet potato person. Here's something. So get a sweet potato. You like avocado. Put avocado in it. Put corn in it. Even if you like whatever it is, you'll top it with a meat if that's what you're still doing at the time, right? But you've increased your amount of plants. You've got to work out what your goals are. If you just say you want to become vegan and you strip everything all at once and you constantly feel pain, your body will find a way to find that there's some deficiency which has sent you back. But if you tap away at where you're at, you're not putting yourself in pain. And that's what I think people need to know. I'm so real with like what my weaknesses are, because if I am, I can pinpoint where I'm about to fall. And that's the truth is if there's something that even if books have told you in 3 months it's going to heal something, your brain will find a way to go back to pleasure if you constantly feel nothing. People call it like lack of dopamine or whatever, but it's the brain's job. Oh, thank you. Vegemite's fermented, yes. You're 48. Well, it's nice to meet you, Luke. Hey, JJ, you're up. I don't know, what time is it in the US? Oh, you guys are so lovely. What beautiful. See, why wouldn't I share? I am from Australia. Veganism's the way to go, save the animal kingdom, and which we used to be more in tune with. 100%. But what I I never want to I think a lot of people, and I don't want to judge anyone because everyone is on their journey doing their best. But what can tend to happen is someone becomes vegan or raw vegan and they're love and light but they spew vulgar and horrible things about people who aren't vegan. And that is still negative energy. Doesn't matter how it comes. And I won't ever be that person because I believe that, like, I've not been vegan and I've thought I'm doing the best job I had. And I am better off. The way I change is by learning myself. And so all I can do is show you what raw veganism does. And the veganism journey for me was part of going raw vegan. But if I start forcing somebody, I'm not only creating a vortex of negative energy around myself, all I'm doing is forcing someone to fear it even more. Why would you want to be someone that's ranting and raving? Like, here's my goal. I want to be someone angry and hate the rest of the world. I don't even like that word. But yeah, so I come from that place where I agree, and I think you said it so beautifully. If veganism is the way to go, save the animal kingdom. That's a beautiful way to see it. I keep my energy in check because, however, it doesn't matter if it's in a a way you think you're trying to help someone. Negative energy is negative energy. You have to keep on your path and just keep like loving you and looking after you. And if you start worrying about what everybody else is doing, you're giving away, you start sitting in victimhood again, you're giving away something which you already had. Like, I just look after me and share me. And it's 8:20 a.m. Oh, wow. So JJ and I will do a podcast on what's my Thursday and her Wednesday. We usually do it on my Tuesday, her Monday. And what I think you said it's 6 p.m. I think we do. Is it 5 p.m.? I think this week it's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because it's 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Oh my God, it's actually Eastern Daylight Time in America at 5 p.m. My brain's learning all these different time zones. You're from England. Hi, Tim. I don't know what that says. So, you're from Malaysia. You have beautiful fruit in Malaysia. Yeah, double check because I think I put it down as in I'm doing it 8 a.m. Anyway, yeah. Do we usually do it? I think whatever time we usually do it, I've just moved it along. So our usual time, I've just moved it along in my calendar. Bye, Luke. Thanks for subscribing. Aria's stay. I like the name Aria. England all the way. This is really nice to connect with the other side of the world because I think I usually just get US and Canada. By the way, JJ, and anyone watching, I made apple, coconut, and vanilla mocktail. And I still have these sitting out from yesterday. Anyone who saw the light, I don't know what that was. I made the carrot wraps, which I will be filling, in a few hours because I'm having an American party. I am from Australia. I'm from Sydney. It is 10:25 p.m. in Sydney. Yeah, I just did a Europe party where we made mocktails. So that's why. And I thought, you know what? I will jump on here. Look at my little fruit clips. Oh, they're caught. Let's see. A beautiful friend sent these to me. She's a raw vegan. She sent me these little clips. I've got a whole lot of them. They're caught in my hair. That's not great. Look how much my hair's grown. I had that dyed only 5 weeks ago. After losing it, most of my hair fell out when I was sick. It's so nice that it's growing again. Yes, so we had the party there. We had the party for Europe, and we will be, I don't know whether you're coming, Jay. I know there's not enough spots this month. We have the America's Experimental Raw Vegan Recipes Party. My mum and dad went traveling around the world and went to Sydney, Australia, and they said they loved it and they can't wait to go. Oh, I love that. Whereabouts are you from, Aria? Did you say you're from England? It's 8:25 p.m. in Malaysia. I just had Raw Chef Yin on. We had in the Europe party. She's from Malaysia. She's a raw chef. What do you think of hydrogen water and the health benefits or fad? I did notice, I need to get it back out. The hydrogen water bottle really helps because hydrogen's needed in the gut for the microbiome, especially further down. But we don't make enough or eat enough food, and the bacteria is not making. I think we're supposed to eat food, and the bacteria is supposed to release hydrogen, and that hydrogen is supposed to be absorbed by the gut. And then the body uses the hydrogen, which is just electrons, right, to neutralize the body. So protons are like acidic and free radicals in the body, and then you get electrons, and that's essentially what hydrogen is. I found it great, but if I found it that great, wouldn't I still be drinking it? I don't know. I would love to have my own a waterfall that I just lived in with beautiful fruits and stuff. But I do think it helps people. Here's the thing. I don't think anything that you can buy that's processed cures anything. It can be part of a support system. So like if you're eating foods which make you feel good, you've got some movement, you're getting out in nature, you've got low stress and you've got good sleep, and then you decide to add hydrogen water in, I think it might add benefits to people. But people who are like having a terrible diet, really stressed, not sleeping, and think like hydrogen water is going to be the answer, or probiotics are going to be the answer, or some supplements going to be the answer, trust me, it's not. Or when you start to see that the foundation always has to be food that makes you feel good, you need to get walking, don't be around stressful people, get good sleep, and then add things in. But in my experience, never has there been anything that I've ever seen actually fix somebody. And you'd be amazed how grateful you are when you're on a health journey. I'm very mindful when I put something in my body, how taxing it is for my body to process anything that isn't a fresh food. And I'm very grateful that I'm healthy enough to have even magnesium at night. Like that magnesium helps me have, I have slow transit. I have no stomach. So getting food to move through at a good rate, that helps there. It helps with sleep. But because I use that, I can't then decide to add 3 more vitamins in. If I got to a stage where I needed another vitamin, the only other one is I get B12 injections, but I'm missing the part of my stomach which absorbs B12, so I need to do that. So I do that. I don't think I could do any more. Like I feel how much my body has to work to get rid of it. Because when you put that in, the body has to balance it for it to be used. So it starts pulling things from other areas. Because I'm healthy, it can do that now. But all of these are not cures. They're all support systems in my body. So it's currently 1:30 p.m. in England. It's very difficult to be vegan, correct? I don't think it's difficult these days to be vegan, but it may be difficult wherever you're at. Or you may be, already eating a very healthy diet and you want to try it. Each person's at something, but when I went vegan, I can't distinguish the fact that my soul had to go through that journey as opposed to just eating that way. Like it was like this awakening for me. But you can slowly try it and try more plant-based foods, vegetarian type foods. It's like, because feel like people are eating meat and then they try vegan food, they're like, I can't do that. Whereas it's like, start moving into it, or just start including more plants. You'll feel better. And then eventually, as that feels easier and you find foods you like, you might have more of it. I just feel it's more sustainable than people jumping in and jumping out and like, I just notice in life that anytime it's the old age tale of the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise always wins. But in this day and age, it feels really monotonous, and we think there's all these people and influencers who, it's like that. It's like that. It fixed everything, and I'm going to sell you this, and it's going to fix that. No. The reward comes because you work on yourself. Thanks for subscribing, Aria. Yes, no dairy products. Thanks for modding, JJ. Thanks for subscribing, Arias. Bye. Okay. So JJ said it's really not difficult for me at all. I love being vegan. I've been vegan 6 years as well. I only really cut out 3 food groups, and that was the way I look at it. At all was just animals and no different than pets, and that is true. It is like the love, but I will say the love for me and animals deepened when I went raw, and I think it's because I couldn't even look after myself. As a vegan, once I went raw, I could love myself. I could talk to animals, talk to the animals. It's such a beautiful thing. Thanks for subscribing, Traveling Vlogs. Yeah, that's great advice in me. It was totally for health reasons. I lost 55 pounds, eliminated seasonal allergies, chronic back pain, and I had more energy than ever. So that's why I stayed vegan. And I think everyone does it for different reasons. But there's something about you feel just so connected. Like when you have no health issues and you're energized when you see an animal. Now I have so much energy for it. I also feel being a raw vegan, animals are so attracted to me. Like I feel like I walk around and I'm like an animal magnet. They're like excellent traveling vlogs ease into, that's how we all got into. Yes, we're all here to support each person, because it's like, and even if you go a few days and you go back, keep looking after yourself. You haven't done anything wrong. You just keep doing it. Anytime I think pain gets you somewhere, like where you're suffering, as I said earlier, is the brain's job is to get you out of that mess. So it will find any loophole. As soon as there's one little thing that goes wrong, oh, that's the veganism, where it's if you really, I've had things come up as a raw vegan, but nothing. The reality is I could have gone, oh, that's why I stopped. Well, what, to go back to the hellholes? I don't think so. So you just keep looking after yourself. So can we debate? We can't really debate when I have had 60 surgeries, 7 major organs removed, and was near death. If you want to debate the veganism, you can't. Like, this is it. This is what I go back to. Well, no, not veganism completely, but the raw veganism. So technically, no. I ain't going back to that. You can't talk me, and I also don't have a stomach. So, no. I don't know what you want to talk me into anyway. Nice to catch you. I'm still excited. I get on a call with you soon. So have a fantastic day. Yay! Bye, Donna. I am vegan. I'm a raw vegan. It saved my life. Do you wear thongs? See, I call thongs shoes, but I'm assuming you're talking about underwear, which I don't know has to do with anything. Strange question. So, yeah, I also think there's kind of something wrong with someone where, sadly, where I'm trying to build a community where I honor wherever anybody's at, whatever anybody's doing, and someone comes on and wants to debate something which is giving somebody joy. I wouldn't even debate somebody who's eating a different way to me, because I've been at different stages of my life. It's as long as you're showing up for you and you feel amazing, and you shouldn't have any negative energy wanting to get into an argument, or it doesn't solve anything. What does is, I think, supporting people to make choices to feel better. So, hello, Scrope. Why don't you like meat? I don't have a stomach. I went vegan, and also it almost killed me. Let's be real here. Meat almost killed me. I'm going to be real about that fact. I'm vegan for the animals, raw for my health. Meat almost killed me. Killed me. I'm not talking about anyone else, me. So I had shingles through the eye, couldn't walk and talk. I had addiction problems. They didn't really get less on cooked vegan foods, to be honest. Vegan was for the animals, but raw vegan is a completely different story. Do not confuse veganism with raw veganism for a split second at all. So, yeah, I couldn't even walk on cooked vegan, or paleo just made me really, really sick. And then people are like, why do you eat carnivore? Did you miss the point where I don't have a stomach? I don't have the hydrochloric acid. So, but it doesn't change the point. I wouldn't eat that way anyway. Hello, I'm subscribing because what you said about not arguing with people. Of course, the whole point of this, sorry, I haven't even mentioned the whole point, is love. I choose to do this because I love me. And when I eat this way, I feel good. And then after finish eating, I feel good. And then I make a feel good choice. And then I go out in the sun and I feel so grateful. It's all love. It's all love. And I never felt that until I got, I guess, high plant-based and raw. And then I want to do more love. And anytime something is negative, I feel it so intensely that it's not for me. And what I feel with that is anytime someone starts these diet arguments, is I start to feel this negative energy, which isn't self-love. And why that is throughout my life, including people I love dearly, like my nieces and my sister, they're not vegan. I don't not love them, and I don't not respect them. I was a kid like my nieces once. Did that. I respect where people are on their journey. But for me, the self-love 100% is the greatest for me. The gateway for me is raw food, and then it opens up to I feel the sun more. I feel people's energy more. I can exercise more. I feel like the universe's breath more. That's never happened eating any other way. I've never finished, when I was paleo, meat and gone, I now want to bathe in the sun or connect to the universe. This is my experience. This has nothing to do with whatever someone else is doing. Cooked vegan, never had that experience. I never ate a cooked sweet potato and felt I need to go bathe in the sun. When I have raw foods, not so much dehydrated or condiments, but fresh, my body sings. It's like I'm the part of the universe, and no one can take that from me, especially the path I've walked. I eat by chewing, and my body breaks the food down. But it doesn't even say how much energy is required. A human without a stomach can still eat fruit and vegetables, but they can't be well on meat. My experience for me. I'm from Sydney. It wasn't, and that's fine. And I'm not here to judge what anyone's doing. So how do I eat? Yeah, no, I just eat the food and my body assimilates. So I eat, the food goes down, and instead of it breaking down into vomit or chyme, which is the hydrochloric acid, it dumps straight into the intestines. There's no duodenum there either. And then the body has to absorb nutrients from very partially broken down foods. And when you talk about plants that are raw and fresh, all it is vitamins. So what it feels like's happening is, instead of being deficient and sick and having more surgeries and more problems, is that the body, if it does absorb something, all it's getting is nutrition. I mean, you put Vegemite toast in there and just say it uses lots of energy to break some of it down. It gets nothing. If it very easily, plants don't take much to break down, absorbs some plant, all it gets is vitamins. So I feel like you can tell my hair, I've got so much of it now. I lost it all. Look at that other photo. I'd lost most of it. It was grey, all these chunks of it had fallen out. My liver was failing. 10 months later. That's why I'm raw. I was vegan here. I was vegan here. So no wonder people say veganism doesn't work, but I had been drinking as well. Not exactly there, but I had become an alcoholic. But my addiction showed up with cooked foods, raw foods. Whoa. So that was with meat in my diet and protein shakes. There's bloody doctors in their protein shakes. Couldn't put weight on. So I'm happy, peeps. I'm not here to make you do anything. I'm just here to share what I'm doing. My channel is about me and my journey. I was sick for 32 years. I healed myself with raw foods. We've made some raw foods here. Corn and carrot wraps. They're actually carrot wraps, which are viral right now, but I made them in the dehydrator. I saved my life with a raw food diet, but basically I'm here to support people on their journey. Is that you can love you enough to eat and live in a way that makes you feel good. People should feel good naturally. We shouldn't be needing to run to anything. It sucks you don't have a stomach. It does, but I feel like it's like part of my journey to get me to where I am. My feet are falling asleep. Is sometimes I feel like you can't take out a part of my journey and think that I'd still end up right here, right now. So yeah, vegan can drink alcohol. They can. Raw vegans don't tend to drink because you feel so low vibe. This is mocktail. Like you feel so electrified on fresh food. You don't want to drink. You just feel terrible. I mean, I felt hungover this morning because I think my apple cider vinegar is a bit alcoholic. It didn't actually move over to the vinegar stage. And that was only probably like a quarter of a cup. I felt terrible. I feel love on raw foods. That's why I have the energy to do this. Yes, some wines are not vegan. So, yeah. All right, I think I'm going to go to bed. So I will be going live for the experimental raw food party at, I think it's 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. You can see it's lined up on my YouTube page, and you can see we're all bringing different raw experimental recipes. Well, that wrap is part of mine. Love you guys. Thanks for joining. Self-love, stay in love, and look after yourselves. Bye. Thanks, JJ.